Welcome back, crew. It's been a bit, but I've kicked off the jet lag and we are getting back into the swing of things. With October in honor of the month, we are running the horrific Free League's Alien system. For those who aren't familiar, the Alien system is based off of the Alien franchise by Ridley Scott. So we're going to be diving into it and getting some sci fi horror goodness for the month of October. For anybody who's not familiar with the channel or is a newcomer, welcome. Drop a subscribe if you haven't. But what we do is each month we come out with a different TTRPG and we focus on it. We make it the game of the month. We go into how to build a PC. We go over the core mechanics. And each month we find something kind of fun or unique with that system as well. And you kind of make a video diving into that and how you can run it with your systems. So with the Alien game, we're going to be going next week, building a PC utilizing their campaign rules. We're also going to be looking into the mechanics, going into combat and kind of the core pieces of it. And for the unique one, we're going to go into how to build horror into the game, utilizing some of their unique components like stress, panic rolls, and the work. So tune in for those. It's going to be a fun month. And we're going to wrap it up as we do each time with our game of the month with an actual play of the system. So October 26th at 7 p.m., which is a Wednesday, we are going to be running an AP of the game with me and my crew diving in. This is all of our first times playing, I believe. So you're going to see us learn the system as we go and have some fun and have a real good horror-themed adventure. And if that doesn't sound fun enough on its own, one of the core missions of this channel, for both myself and for just the overall TTRPG community, is to get more people playing different games. So every time we have our game of the month, during our AP, we raffle off a copy of the PDF of the game system we're playing. So October 26th, you'll have a chance to win a PDF copy of the Alien RPG. So come through, and maybe you'll be one of the lucky winners. But today what we're doing is we're going over our first impressions of the system. So this is just kind of me going through the rule book, kind of leafing through it and kind of seeing what I see and kind of what stands out to me. It's kind of shouting out some cool things and some things I'm excited for. So with this system, kind of one of the big pieces right off the bat I just really feel like it fits the Alien kind of atmosphere and movie tones. Like it says some great artwork. It really captures that sci-fi feel. It feels like what I expected. Because sometimes with some of the kind of franchise or movie games or books that come out with it, you can tell it's a cash grab. There's a lot of love that goes into it. Alien is the complete opposite. You can definitely tell they put some care into it. And Free League, we've played a lot of Free League lately. Between The Wondering, the recent Into the Odd, it's only published by Free League, but still a Free League game. And I think Free League does a great job of making sure that care and efforts put into an Alien definitely shows it from what I've seen so far. So definitely another one I recommend getting the hardcover. I usually recommend getting the hardcover, but I love kind of the sci-fi feel with this one too. Some of the artwork is definitely worth having in your collection. But so there's a couple cool things I want to shout out with this system. So we're going to be diving into these in our upcoming videos between our mechanics and some of the sci-fi horror pieces and building a PC. But one of the things that stood out to me right away is that they have two different styles of play built into the system: cinematic play and campaign play. Uh, with this too, so cinematic play is kind of set up for kind of one shot. It's perfect for one shots or very quick art campaigns, and we're going to be doing a bit of a hybrid with our one shots. It's going to be kind of a mix of campaign play and the actual cinematic. Because one of the things with the cinematic that I thought it was pretty cool. It's definitely great for getting new people into the system. But with cinematic, usually the GM or in this game, the game mother builds the PCs for cinematic play. But I know my crew likes to build their PCs, myself as well. So we're doing a little bit of hybrid of the cinematic styles as well as building your own PC using the campaign rules. So we're just going to kind of hybrid it in, and we're going to be doing a custom adventure that I'm making, like Expedition into 417. So it kind of fits there. I do wish one of my kind of early thorns, I'll say, is I wish they had a little bit more guidelines or kind of help on building your own cinematic adventure. But I've read through a couple of the ones they've published. It seems sweet. We're going to be borrowing some of the core components they've done on that side just to really draw out that horror, you don't know what's coming next, dreadful feel that the Alien movies have and that any good horror story does. So really cool that side. I like that. From what I've read, just on some of the message boards and Reddit and RPG forums, Alien is a perfect one-shot game. It brings that lethality, like especially with the xenomorphs running around. That's what you expect. It's definitely one they say don't be surprised if you have a TPK or just a couple players die. So I don't know how lethal our crew is going to be. Maybe the dice will favor them, but we're definitely bringing the horror. We're bringing the force for them. So they're gonna have their work cut out for it. So they've got that cinematic play kind of structure for the one shots. They've got some, and we may do a video down the line too that goes through both their campaign and cinematic breakdowns a little bit more. But just, I thought it was a really cool feature that they have there. They've got some cool tips and tricks too for running the cinematics and kind of making it feel more movie-esque as you're going through the game. And then, of course, too, they have the other mode, the campaign mode, which is kind of more your typical TTRPG piece. You go through, you build your character, you go, and this is when you usually expect your character to live a little bit longer with. My crew, fortunately, is cool with building a character that may die, just to get familiar with the system. But typically with the campaign, it's still going to be lethal. It's sci-fi horror, but it's not going to be coin toss lethal. So I thought that was cool. I like that they had those different modes. It's one of the first games I've seen, I think, that does that. So I thought that's just kind of a cool way to do, give the game mother, in this case, some different tools to have to be able to play different styles of games and communicate that to the players with resources and references. So cool note on that side. Definitely a rose so far, but I wish they've supported a little bit more. So Free League, if you ever watch, build some cool supplements and things like that for the community. I think it would be a blast. But kind of outside of that, some cool things I noticed as I was going through the books. This system is a D6 system, so you really only roll D6s. So your skills, if you do have a skill and you have different ranks and points in them, you roll more D6s. They've got 3 different types of rolls with a D6 though. So you've got a D3, which if you roll D6, you just cut it in 2, round up. You got your typical D6, and then a D66, which you roll them, and basically it's 11 through 66. So you don't have any like 0 through 10 on that side, or 1 through 10. If you roll them, you kind of just count or use what each of the dice says and add them together, and you're good to go. So that kind of cool. That side makes it easy. If you do ever play in person, though, they do have custom dice for them. They got like a little alien marker. I think is the one spot on that one. I have to look that up. But they have the little alien marker in those, and you see for certain mechanics like stress and other things, if you get that one, either causes you into a panic roll or other things will happen, which we'll go a little bit further into in our mechanics side of the video. But just kind of cool that side. D6s make it easy, and it's one of the nice things too. It makes it inexpensive for new players to get in, because if you don't have games, or if you have board games at home, you've got these sixes, you can grab a handful and you're good to go. So definitely kind of a cool factor there. The other thing I really like, I got a moving past the dice system with this, is just as I was leafing through, they really go into the different themes that you should really have in like a sci-fi horror story. And while this is marketed or kind of put in the Alien universe, this is something that you could run with any sci-fi horror story you wanted to tell. Some of the things I've seen with their stress mechanics and panic mechanics work well for any kind of sci-horror story. So while it is Alien, if you get like you run a couple Alien verses, but you want to do your own thing, or if you want to buy it and just straight into your own thing, this is a good system for it. Check it out on that side alone. But what they do really well, even just outside of the Alien universe, is the key themes you need to look for running this style of game. They have like the 3 core themes. They got the space horror, sense of wonder, and sci-fi action, and that's what we're going to cover pretty heavily in our 4th video, going over kind of the horror aspects and how to bring it in. But they really kind of cover those well, and you'll see in the game mother sections and different sections of the books, they kind of keep bringing it back to those key themes and giving you tips on how to build that suspense, build that dread with your players, and just make sure that because horror is a hard one to do for TTRPGs, because your players, they're safe. So you've got to really work on building that dread, building that sense of doom. And fortunately, they don't just leave you out to dry on how to do that. They've got some cool stuff in there, which will cover how to bring that to your table. Outside of that, the only other thing I really want to shout out is their stress and panic system. That's gonna be fun to go over in a mechanics video because this is one of those ones that if you haven't watched Alien Research, if you've never seen it, throughout the films, like the characters, you just see the stress building and you see those situations come, and of course even some of the heroes, the core main characters end up breaking and panicking and doing something crazy, and their panic system is set up to kind of reflect that. And they've got some fun different things that come with stress, and one of the cool things, we're going to go over this more in depth, but stress, it seems like it'd be a bad thing at first, but the stress, and it does eventually become a bad thing, but your stress actually helps you focus. The more stress you have, the more dice you actually get to roll with certain skill checks and abilities. But the hard thing is if you roll a 1 with those skill checks, with those extra stress dice, you get into a panic roll, and those can be nasty. And the nice thing too is outside of that, DMs can call for panic rolls in certain situations. So I'm just really looking forward to this one because I've never really run a sci-fi horror game, or I've done like with Star Wars certain things that kind of may fit into that genre. But this is a system built for it. This is a kind of a universe made for it. So I'm eager to kind of try that out and just put my players through the paces. But overall, I'm pretty happy with this one. I have not been disappointed by Free League yet so far. This one looks like it's going to be a blast. So I'm looking forward to diving in next week with building our own PCs. So we're going to go through step by step because at least for me, one of my best ways to learn a new system, and I highly recommend it for anybody playing a new system, is diving in, building a PC. It helps you learn the mechanics, helps you learn what the system is, what makes the system tick, and that's what we're going to do next week. We're going to be building it on Roll20 too. So if you play Alien is on Roll20, so you get to see how to build it there. Nice thing though is these rules, we're going through the base character build rules. So if you build a pen and paper, or if you play Foundry or one of the other tabletop emulators, you'll still have that same process. So kind of one size fits all there. But join us for that. Join us for our mechanics build, and definitely come through for the building horror and utilizing the stress and panic system video. That's going to be a fun one, and kind of exploring some of the key themes of the Alien system. So, this is our game of the month. Make sure you join us October 26th at 7 p.m. as we go through and do our actual play. Maybe you'll be one of the lucky winners and you get to bring home a PDF copy of the Alien system. Also, if you're new, drop a like, drop a subscribe. Each month we're doing these videos, so come through, support the crew, and get to see some more amazing TTRPG content. But thank you guys for the support, and until next time.